This is an All Ears English podcast, episode 952, How to Express Your Light Bulb Moments in English.
Welcome to the All Ears English podcast, downloaded more than 50 million times. We believe in connection, not perfection, with your American hosts, Lindsay McMahon, the English adventurer, and Michelle Kaplan, the New York radio girl, coming to you from Boston and New York City, USA. And to get your transcripts delivered by email every week, go to allearsenglish.com/subscribe. A light bulb moment is when a great idea comes to mind. Today, get 4 ways to convey energy and get people on board with your new ideas in English.
Hey, Lindsay, how's it going?
Hey, Michelle, I'm doing great. I'm a little tired. I stayed up last night watching a movie. Actually, have you seen this movie? It's called The Dallas Buyers Club. It was so good. Matthew McConaughey and Jennifer Garner.
Right. Yeah, I did see it a few years ago. I can't remember it that well, but I do remember it was very good. And I think it won awards, didn't it?
It was so good. It was the story of this cowboy from Texas who gets AIDS. He contracts AIDS in 1985. And at that time, there was a huge stigma around having AIDS, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, he ended up eventually, in an entrepreneurial sense, starting a buyers club, which apparently a buyers club is a place where people come together and they buy drugs that are off the market, that are like not approved by the FDA, but they actually work. That's what happened in this case. Kind of interesting. And anyways, it was sad. It was inspiring. But because Matthew McConaughey is amazing, he's such a good actor.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a very good movie. Yeah, I should, maybe I'll see it again. But yeah, I think it was definitely an intense one.
It was a very intense movie, and
Probably why you couldn't shut it off and go to sleep.
I couldn't shut it off. I had to finish it. Thank goodness it wasn't like a 3-hour movie. It was only like an hour and a half. But
that's it?
Yeah, it was like an hour, maybe hour 45, something like that. Yeah.
Oh, that's not long. Yeah.
Yeah. But he had some good ideas, by the way, in that movie. His idea to start the Buyers Club was a great idea because he was supplying these important drugs to these men with AIDS that they couldn't get them on the real market because the FDA wanted to have like a monopoly on these other drugs, right?
Yeah,
right. It uncovered a lot of scandal and corruption within the government and the FDA.
Yeah, wow. That stuff is, that's crazy. Yeah, I have to watch it again. I know that I really liked it. Well, anyway, I hope you got a little bit of sleep and are ready to get energetic, get our ideas rolling, everything for All Ears English.
Always love ideas.
I love ideas too. Do you get excited when you get a good idea? Like, because I mean, you're an entrepreneur, and so I bet this happens all the time. That you're like, ooh, right? I mean, and when you get a good idea, like, who do you usually talk about too? Talk about it too first.
I live on ideas. That's like what gets me so excited, is coming up with an aha moment, a good idea.
Yeah.
Well, I have a friend, my friend Guy. Actually, some of our listeners will know Guy because he is in the Connected Communicator in the Rust Belt, in the Chicago module, on the videos. Anyways, he's an entrepreneur as well, and he and I just go out for a beer and we go crazy with our ideas. We just dream big, so I share my ideas with him and of course my close friends and family. But sometimes, not everyone in my life is an entrepreneur, and sometimes they think I'm crazy with these ideas.
That's so funny. Yeah. Well, I mean, you get ideas all the time. That's so cool. So, good. That's good that you have like your friend to really bounce things off of, and think about all these things with. That's good. You have someone to really share that with who doesn't think you're crazy, like you said. But that's cool. So, we have a great question from a listener about ideas today.
Cool.
That I really like this question. So, could you read it for us?
Yeah, let's go. So here it is. So, hey, Lindsay and Michelle, I've been listening to you guys for around 4 years. That is awesome. Wow. All right. I remember listening for the first time your podcast, and I thought that it was the first podcast for learning English, where the hosts don't sound like robots. Hey, that's great. That's a compliment.
That is great.
And she says, you're amazing. And here's my question. Do you have an expression or slang that could be more colorful than just saying, it came to my mind a great idea, or I just happened to think? Thank you for all your work you're doing to help us to become better speakers of English. And this is Camila. Oh, what a good question.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that is a really good question. So today we're going to focus on this idea of how to introduce an idea you have with excitement and enthusiasm, right? So I think, Camilla is asking, like, what can we say when we have a good idea, right?
Yeah, I love that Camilla wants to expand her vocabulary and get new phrases, better phrases, because it's a really cool moment and it's a moment where when you come up with a good idea, you could be in isolation because you're the only one who understands how great your idea is, or you could be in connection if you can find the right words to use to share that idea, right? So we have a choice here.
Right. Exactly. So, these can be used. We're going to give you guys some phrases that some of them are on the more casual end. Some of them could be used at work. But all of them, one of the biggest things that's going to be important when you use an idea is my favorite topic, which is intonation. Right, Lindsay?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you should be excited about your idea.
Exactly.
So you need to show it.
Right. So guys, this is not just here are the phrases and go for it, right? Because you don't want to say, what do you think of this? Right?
Oh, boring. No one's going to listen to the next thing you say, right? No one's going to actually listen to your idea.
Right. So it's kind of a two-step process. It's like, okay, you got to have the vocab, but really, especially for something like this, the intonation, the excitement, the energy behind what you're saying is going to be so key, because if you have a good idea and you want to share it with somebody and you want to connect with someone, you better sound like you're excited about it, or else why should they be, right?
Yeah, I love that. Love that.
Okay. All right. So we have a few phrases here. So Lindsay, what's the first one?
All right. So the first one is I have a great, or just I have an idea. And there's an exclamation point after idea because that's the energy right there, right? I have a great idea.
Right. Exactly. So for example, you could say like, I have a great idea. We should make brownies tonight. Okay, so that's obviously more of an informal situation, right? So, I mean, you could use this maybe if you're like Lindsay, if you have an idea and you're talking to your friend about it, you could say, "Oh, I have a great idea for all there's English," right?
Right.
You could say either we should do something, or you could say, let's do something, right?
Yeah,
those are two ways, there could be more, but that you could introduce it after you say, I have a great idea, right?
Yeah. Because that's also part of introducing the idea, is like urging the next action. We should do this, or let's do this. And it also has to have a sense of like togetherness. Like if you're trying to get someone else on board with you guys, you want to use the right words there. Good.
Right. And you got to be kind of really confident and comfortable with this statement. And so I like this idea of, like you said, like kind of like being together, like we should, or let's do something. And it's more of a statement. You're not really asking, but you're expressing something with excitement. Like you're not sounding like bossy when you say that. It still sounds like, like a suggestion, but it just sounds more like kind of very confident rather than saying, well, do you think we should, right?
Yeah, that's a good point, Michelle. It's not about asking them, like, do you think we should do this? No, it's like, we should do this. Let's do this. Let's go and have a picnic on the Charles River in a kayak tonight, for example.
Right. Oh, that sounds nice.
Right? Like crazy date idea, right? I mean, ideas, you gotta kind of pitch your idea in the way that you word it.
Exactly. That's good. All right. So the second one is...
Are you taking IELTS this year? Go to the iTunes store and look for the IELTS Energy podcast. That is where you will find our best tips and tricks to get your 7 or higher 100% focused on IELTS. See you over at IELTS Energy, guys. So I know we should XYZ. So the intonation here is important too, right, Michelle? I know, right?
I know, yeah. So... yeah, definitely. Cause you don't want to say, I know, right?
And I like that we're teaching this I know, because I feel like a lot of our listeners, if you guys have been using textbooks up until now, you won't necessarily know this because this is kind of cultural, Michelle, this way of using this. I know, right? It's very cultural. I think it might also be very American rather than like British. I'm not sure. But like we say this as kids all the time. I know we should do this.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, that's true. And it's just two words, but it has like a lot of meaning and a lot of excitement to it. I know, right? So it's not like a big like slang like phrase or an idiom or a big, a long phrase, but I just feel that it really kind of packs in the excitement of the idea.
Definitely.
Right. So again, with the other one, I have a great idea. You could say we should or let's, and again, it's kind of more like a statement than it's kind of informal sounding in these situations. For example, like, I know we should watch the game at the new sports bar down the street, right?
Yeah. I love that.
Okay.
Love it.
All right. Let's move on. We got two more for you. What's the next one, Lindsay?
All right. So the next one is this. It's a little bit like not as intense in my mind. So it's, here's a thought. Okay. And then XYZ, you give your idea. Right.
Exactly. And I feel like, you could also say like we should or let's, but, we threw out a different one for this one. So Lindsay, what's an example?
All right. So here's a thought. How would you like to go to France, for our next vacation?
Right.
Yeah, I feel like this one is a little bit different in tone, right, from the others.
Right. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, I mean it's kind of it's a bit more of an invitation, like
right.
I would think like this is something maybe not exclusively, but a parent might say to a kid, hey,
yeah,
here's a thought. How would you like to go visit this college campus and have lunch after? Or you know what I mean? Just like a parent to a child. Or a parent to a teenager.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I think so too. And like I said, you could say, here's a thought, let's blah, blah, blah. But, I also wanted to introduce not only here's the idea, but how you like present it, right? How do you like invite someone? Is it more like, oh, you're just saying it like a statement and being all, or are you inviting or asking?
Yeah, it's a little bit less strong too, I think. Like, here's a thought. Like, it's not quite as like, oh, I know, we should do this, we should do that. It's more like, oh, here's a thought. It's a little bit lighter in the suggestion, a little less like imposing, right?
I think so too. And another thing you could say is, here's a thought, we blank, blank, blank. Like, oh, here's a thought, we go to France next year.
Ooh, I think we did an episode on this.
I think we did. That's what it came to my mind. I'm not sure which episode it was, but yeah, didn't we talk about where we say we something?
Exactly. We talked about when we might use the present tense when we're strategizing, especially like in a team or we're coming up with ideas. I'm actually going to try as we go through this, I'll try to find that episode, guys. But yeah, the present tense, sometimes instead of saying we should do this or we will do this, we use the present tense instead of the future, guys. Yes. I don't know which episode number it is. You guys are going to have to go back in the last couple of weeks.
Right. So guys, that may be a structure that you use for presenting your idea. Right. So we talked about like, not only the intro sentence or intro couple of words, but also like things like we should or let's or would you or we blank, blank, blank. Right.
Yeah. Love that.
Okay, great. And now we have one more for you, Lindsay. What do we have here?
I like this one because it has such imagery, right? It's let me bounce an idea off of you. It's
Yeah. So this, I know it does have an image. Like I'm imagining like a medium-sized ball. But that it's like very soft. I don't know. And it's kind of like one of those, I don't know why. And I don't know also why I'm saying this, but it's like red and blue and yellow and it says idea and I'm just throwing it at someone and anyway.
An idea ball.
An idea ball, yeah. So it's like you're throwing it, you're bouncing it off of someone and seeing what their thoughts are about it, right?
Yeah, this also has the subtext of like, it's okay if you don't like the idea. I'm just going to throw this at you for a second and let's see if it lands. Let's see how it lands, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah, that's a good point. So like, for example, you could say, let me bounce an idea off of you. Would you be interested in working on a new sales pitch with Sarah's team? right?
Mhm.
So again, here we used would you, right? So more like of an invitation using a question, right? I could see this one being used like casually for friends, also in the workplace.
Yeah, totally. I mean, this could be used in a bunch of different places.
Right, exactly. Or like we talked about, you could use the let me bounce an idea off of you. We do blank, 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 right?
Yeah, I love this. I like how with these 4 phrases, we've gone from like more imposing by saying like, I know we should do this, to here's a thought, or let me bounce an idea off of you, which is a little bit less imposing, which is kind of more like, oh, here's something we could do. Just lighter, a lighter touch.
Right. And also the difference between we do this, like, let's do this, like, and sounding kind of more confident and like, just like, oh, like, this is the idea rather than, or would you want to say, oh, would you like to, blah, 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 right?
Yeah. Yeah. So we're showing our listeners a huge range of vocabulary today. This is great, guys. You should be taking notes.
Right. Yeah. And guys, you know, we could do an entire episode about introducing new ideas at work and our meeting. Like, I think that's something that we might want to revisit in the future because this is kind of a mix of all of them and like they all, you know, but maybe we could focus on that sometime. So why don't we try it out, Lindsay, in a role play?
All right, let's do it. So what are we doing in this role play?
Well, this is fun. We're deciding where to go on vacation this year.
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay.
All right. I'll just start. Should I just start?
Sure.
Okay. All right. So where should we go?
I know. We should go to Iceland and see the Northern Lights.
I would love to, but I hate the cold weather. Oh, I have a great idea. Let's go to Bermuda and relax on the beach.
Ooh, that's a good idea, but I don't like the beach. Here's a thought. We go to San Diego. They have the perfect weather.
Yeah, they do, but I just went there last year. Let me bounce an idea off of you. Would you be interested in going to Greece?
That's a great idea. Yes. Let's book it.
Those are all great places. San Diego,
I know.
Greece, Iceland.
I know. All right. So here, you know, we're bouncing ideas off of each other, right? So let's just go through it real fast. So, first I said, oh, I know we should go to Iceland, right?
Yep.
So it you know, it doesn't sound like I'm imposing on you, but it sounds like I'm excited. So I'm using we should and I know, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then I said, "Ooh, I have a great idea. Let's do this. Let's go to Bermuda." So that's another way to say that. Also very kind of strong, but you know, hey, if you're excited about your idea, go for it.
Exactly. And then I said, here's a thought. We go to San Diego, which is that form we were talking about.
Yeah,
right?
Where you're using the present tense when normally you would use the past tense. But here again, guys, we talked about this a few weeks ago. When you're strategizing, coming up with exciting ideas, you might use the present tense in this case.
For sure. Okay. And then finally, what did we say? The last one.
Okay, we said, let me bounce an idea off of you. Would you be interested in going to Greece?
Right. So now you're asking a question, more like an invitation or just, you know, not sure if, you know, like maybe I'm interested, maybe not, right?
Right, exactly. I like it. These are good. Good phrases.
Okay. Awesome. Okay, guys. Well, definitely experiment with these, see how they go. Lindsay, what's a takeaway for today?
Well, the takeaway, guys, is when you're looking for connection and you come up with an idea, you want your energy or your intonation to match the vocabulary that you're using. That's so important. So you want to work on sounding energetic in these situations. Okay. I mean, if you're coming up with an idea, you should feel excited about it. Otherwise, don't bother saying it.
Right. Exactly. So make sure, you know, we got a couple pieces to this puzzle of how to express your ideas. And you got to have all of them to make it really kind of like land with the other person, right?
Yeah, that's kind of your job, is to make it land. I like that expression. You know, make the person excited, get them on board, because you're not going to do these things by yourself, right? You're trying to recruit people to take advantage of this idea. So guys, it all comes down to language and energy.
Exactly. Awesome. Okay. Yeah. So let us know how it goes. Try expressing your ideas, big or small, and tell us how it goes for you.
Yeah, guys. And to get the transcripts for today, if you want to get into the nitty gritty and see exactly what we said, right? And have it all in front of you, go to allearsenglish.com/subscribe to get those delivered every Monday in your email inbox.
Okay.
All right.
Perfect. All right. Well, this has been fun, Lindsay.
Yeah. Thanks for hanging out. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Thanks so much for listening to All Ears English. And if you need a 7 or higher on your IELTS exam to achieve your life vision, then our Insider Method can get you there. Start with our free video series masterclass. Get video 1 now at allearsenglish.com/INSIDER. And if you believe in connection, not perfection, then subscribe to our show on your phone or on your computer. See you next time.